What next? She shouldn't slowly poison him so she gets attention from having sick boyfriend? I mean, you guys just don't understand true love, I guess.
Facts.
Thank you for tuning in to the third episode of the Lurkers podcast. I'm Lily.
And I'm Rafi. And today we're going to be discussing in our first topic how to handle being a human pillow.
It's a good one. And then after that, we're gonna get into a user submitted question about toxicity in relationships. So thank you to our slider of the DMs who sent us that one. And then after that, our second post of the day is what to do when you find out that your girlfriend is a total Karen. That one's quite juicy, if I do say so myself.
Oh yeah. This episode's a doozy. And we hope you enjoy.
Thank you for tuning into Lurkers,
The only podcast
where a real life couple
discusses the internet's top relationship problems
every week.
We are your hosts,
Lily
and Rafi.
It's time to get real.
Say hi?
Yeah, we should probably say hi.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Welcome back to episode 3?
Mm-hmm.
3 now, right?
Yep.
Oh, snap. Episode 3 of Lurkers. We're now wily old veterans of this podcast game.
Oh, yeah. And we are also now very far apart. This is our first episode that we're recording remotely from each other. The first of many, so please excuse any technical difficulties.
Yeah, there's definitely starting the podcast was a bit of a struggle, to say the very least. Trying to get the timing synced up, but I'll take 150% responsibility for that. But yeah, so.
Yeah, y'all made it through week 1 and week 2. Thank you for coming back to week 3. Before we get into things, just a quick disclaimer. Neither of us are licensed professionals. We are just a couple giving their 2 cents on these things. So please take everything that we have to say with a grain of salt.
Yeah. So should we just jump into it?
Yeah.
All right. So this first post is from u/throw_ra indeed sleep lol.
I think it says I need sleep.
Oh, it says I need sleep. If you can't tell, for the people at home who the superior reader is, I hope now it is clear and apparent. But anyways, this first post is titled My 26 female husband, 24 male, and my daughters 5 and 3 use me as a pillow. I have 3 children, my 2 daughters and then my son. My husband sleeps kind of on top of my arm and my leg, so I really can't move. And recently my daughters have been sleeping with us. My daughter sleeps on top of my other arm, and my other daughter sleeps on top of my stomach. My son doesn't sleep with us. I can't sleep. It's extremely uncomfortable, and I can't move my daughters because I can't really move my arms. How can I get my daughters to stop sleeping on me? Oh, yeah, this is definitely the most wholesome one we've done.
Pretty wholesome, pretty short and concise, pretty lighthearted.
But also, I don't know, this is a difficult answer. You can't just be like, no kids, I hate you, get away from me.
I'm also confused
really,
why
really
this is a Reddit post. I feel like this is pretty on r/relationship advice worthy, but it was also one of the top posts for the week though, so like people have opinions on this.
That's what I'm saying. Because how do you answer this question? Like, how would you handle this situation? As the purpose of this podcast goes.
I don't know. First impression, tell your husband that you can't sleep, and so there's one person that needs to stop using you as a pillow. Shouldn't be too difficult. your daughters maybe just like make their room extra comfy and cool so that they want to sleep in there. Like get them some night lights, get them some like cute little glowy things so that they feel comfortable sleeping in their room. Or just like fart a
Yeah.
lot so that no one wants to sleep on you. Like eat some beans before bed.
Yeah, make it a tradition. Be like,
all right, everyone, I'm gonna take my nightly beans.
You also could just like altogether stop showering. I feel like that would achieve a similar effect. They'd eventually be like, "Ew, mommy smells funny."
I don't know. I don't think the 3 and 5-year-old would care, and I don't really know if her husband would care either. Might have the opposite effect than what she's going for.
No, that's assuming so much about this husband.
But very little about men.
Excuse me. I like to think that we're better than this.
That is not correct.
We gotta see what the comments have to say.
Yeah.
Do you want to read the first top comment?
Yeah. Oh, seems like me and the top comment are on similar page. The top comment is from user Carrie Ann Floyd fan, and they say, buy them some kind of new nightlight, princess bed canopy, glow in the dark stars, I don't know, something cool that will make them want to sleep in their own room. As for your husband, roll him over. LOL.
Yeah, there's the answer.
And this comment has more upvotes than the original post.
Yeah.
That's pretty substantial.
The next top comment is from Jen5872, and she says, all the kids start sleeping in their own beds. It's not always easy. It takes a lot of patience and consistency. Try putting them in their beds at night and staying with them until they fall asleep. And if they try crawling in your bed later, you walk them back to their bed, give them a snuggle, and sit with them until they go back to sleep. Repeat as necessary. Then you start training your husband to stay on his side of the bed. Maybe get him one of those body pillows to drape himself over.
Yeah, I feel like watching Super Nanny definitely would be helpful because Super Nanny, I mean, I don't know, Joe's just an icon. Like, Joe does everything right with parenting in my eyes. But so many of those episodes are just with young children who do not want to go to bed or sleep in their own beds. And she's got the method down pat, so I highly recommend watching some episodes of Super Nanny if you need bedtime tips.
Yeah, no, that's great advice. Super Nanny literally just doesn't miss. So even if you have no desire to try and solve the situation, if you're having a bad day, you can watch some Super Nanny. It'll probably make it better. Shouts out Joe. We should try and get her on the podcast.
It's a fact. I feel like she would just spill the tea.
I think they definitely do need me. I'm on my way.
That's what I'm saying. Where is she at? Like, what is she doing nowadays?
I don't know. I'm gonna check. I'm just gonna let's take a little hiatus and see what she's doing right now.
12 seconds later.
Oh,
like,
wow. She actually has a website, joefrost.com. And she gives a bunch of parenting advice. She's like swung into the entrepreneurial field. Her most recent thing is how to talk to your children about terrorism.
What?
I'm serious. That's her most recent activity was how to talk to your kids about terrorism. She does private consultations now. Honestly, go to joefrost.com and she has a link to a bunch of her books like Joe Frost Toddler Rules, Confident Toddler Care. I definitely think you would find what you need in regards to bedtime in here.
Yeah, and if not, and you have the financial means, like schedule a one-on-one with Joe. I legit might do that for like my birthday or something.
Just like,
be like, yo, what up, Joe?
Nothing to do with children, just like, what's good?
Yeah, just spend a little evening with Joe. So back to the post.
Back to the post. The next top comment is from Cryptographer OK 5523, and they say, with spouse, totally just move him. I don't know anything about kids, but my spouse is super snuggly and I can't sleep when I'm being touched. Dang. Once I'd explained this, we found a sweet spot where we snuggle for a bit, and then I say, okay, good night, and roll to my own side when I'm ready to fall asleep. Then I just either roll him over or wake him up and tell him I need to scoot over if he ends up in my space. I feel like an at first, but he understands. I deserve to sleep too. All of this to say you can totally train your husband.
Alright, can we stop with this misandry? We are not trainable. Some of us just actually listen and can adapt as human beings.
Tell me more.
Whatever. We are capable of growth as any human is. I do not, the idea of train, if we flip this and we jump on red pill and we have comments saying you could totally train your girlfriend or your wife, yeah, that's good. You're gonna love that, aren't you?
I know, that's the secret that the women have been hiding from you your entire life. You do the dishes now, don't you?
I mean, yeah, sure. You're training me to be helpful around the house. Yes, I have been trained. You've heard it here first, folks. I am merely but a dog who gets trained to do whatever my girlfriend tells me to do. Yeah. All right. On that note, yeah, every comment's gonna get the same thing at this point, and you said it best. Be the parent.
Yeah, make bedtime fun. I can't personally relate to the snuggle thing just because I'm a very cuddly person. But be honest with your husband. I'm sure he'll understand and that he wants you to sleep. But just like make bedtime fun for your daughters and get your husband to help you with that too.
Yeah, and also don't forget you got Joe, super nanny. That's always good advice.
JoeFrost.com. Shouts out Joe. Sponsor us.
Yeah, sponsor us, Joe, or come on the show. Either one. Where you at? But yeah, is that the official advice?
I think that's the official advice. That one was pretty light. It's pretty easy.
Pretty easy. So are you ready for this week's user submission?
Oh, yes.
This week's user submission is, can you discuss early signs of a toxic relationship?
Couples therapy. If y'all are going to couples therapy within the first year together, run. If you're going to couples therapy within the first month, sprint. There's a lot.
Yeah.
Like there's a bucket list here. Rafi, do you just want to like go back and forth and just like throw things out there? This is something me and Rafi have lots of experience with.
Yeah, definitely hypocrisy.
Can you give an example?
Like if someone's like, you shouldn't text guys or you shouldn't text girls, and then they're constantly texting guys or girls. Yeah, but that also falls into, I'll jump into a number two on that, and that's just like generally controlling.
Yeah.
I would say controlling is more trying to limit what you do as a human being rather than try and help you grow as a human being, maybe.
Yeah, if they're cutting you off from your family and friends, it's a big sign that you probably shouldn't be together. There's actually, I was reading yesterday, there was a study and this guy came up with like 5 different ways that you know a relationship's not going to work out. I need to look this up because I saw it yesterday and I was like, this is the tea.
We're getting sources now. We're evolving.
We are. We're like, this still isn't professional advice, obviously, because we're getting everything on the internet and never trust the internet.
Big facts.
I would say, just off the top of my head, if like your relationship is just built on being shallow, like it's really great to like have hot sex or whatever, but that doesn't mean you need to be in a relationship with the person. Like a relationship is larger than just sex. So if you and your partner have nothing beyond sexual attraction for each other, it's not gonna last that long. I would say also, like, I don't know if this is necessarily toxic, but I feel like what you should be looking for in a relationship is growth more than anything else. Like, I would say if you feel like both of you are growing and the other person also feels this way in the relationship, then that's a good way to know that a relationship is not toxic. Um, because how could you be both be growing at the same time if you're bad for each other? You know?
No, that's facts. I would also say a big one is lying. In terms of things that are early signs of a toxic relationship. If somebody's lying to you all the time, then yeah, it's probably not a great sign. If I feel like if you have to ask the question, is this toxic? Then it's more than likely toxic.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And like, I don't know, all couples fight. Like, nobody's out here living in a utopia where, like, you know, people have disagreements, and especially when you're in a relationship with someone for a long time, you're bound to have disagreements and bumps in the road. But I would say like a good meter is like 5 to 1. So like 5 times out of 6, your interaction should be positive. But like, if you would say that like more than 20% of the time, that's like a definite no go. Like, your relationship needs to end if more than 20% of the time it isn't a positive experience and it's more negative.
oh yeah, and I'm also gonna repeat what I said earlier. And if you have to like calculate how often the good times happen with the bad times, also another sign that it's probably toxic. Also, on that note, if you're breaking up and getting back together,
Mm-hmm.
and breaking up and getting back together, super super toxic.
Yeah. And I feel like in general, like having to question if your relationship is toxic or not is a good sign that it's
Yeah.
toxic.
Yeah.
Like, go with your gut. Like, your gut's usually right. And a lot of times, especially when people are in extremely toxic relationships, you'll question yourself a lot, and go back and forth. But if you feel it in your gut, your intuition is usually pretty spot on about that kind of stuff.
Yeah, no doubt. Any more? Or is that the official advice?
Yeah, I would say overall, if you're questioning whether or not your relationship is toxic, it's probably toxic.
Yeah. I could absolutely agree with that.
And also,
Um,
just another thing is like have a receptivity that you yourself may be the toxic one. Because I don't know, I was chatting with some of my gal pals who I haven't seen in ages yesterday, and we were talking about how often when people are in toxic relationships and just like abusive towards their partner in general, it's because they're treating their partner like a mirror, for things they haven't worked out in themselves. So if there's things about your partner that you feel are toxic, maybe be honest with yourself and be like, am I actually projecting things that are wrong with me onto this person I'm so close with because I'm comfortable enough with them to do that?
mm, no, that was great advice. Um, Carrying the show right now. Carrying the advice column. But yeah, the official advice. Is that it?
I think so. That was a lot of advice.
That was a lot of advice. Toxic relationships are a very complicated thing, and I do not think that it can be summed up in just a couple pointers. So we'll throw all of that at you as the official advice. Thank you for asking the question, and if you want to ask another question, or if anybody out there wants to ask a question, just slip into the DMs of the Instagram page at Lurkers Podcast, and we can talk about it.
Yeah, our anonymous Dropbox is also in the show notes. So if you would like to keep your identity a secret, it is also available.
Hell yeah! So, are we going to the second and final notes of the day?
I think so.
All right. Would you like to read this next post?
I would love to. All right, so this one was posted by user throw ra away 463 IWIWU. The title is My Girlfriend is a Karen Towards Retail Workers and Wait Staff, and it's really hurting our relationship. I'm 28 male, she's 28 female. First of all, I wish there was a better way to express the title. I know some people take issue with the Karen meme, but this was the easiest way to succinctly summarize the issue. My girlfriend and I have been together for 2 years. She's great. Friendly, considerate, funny, smart, and our sex life is great. I can think of no major issues in our relationship, ... except for one. Whenever there's even the smallest hiccup while we are shopping, eating out, or on the phone with a customer service rep, my girlfriend snaps through this bizarre Jekyll and Hyde transformation and becomes a complete, ruthless, unrelenting Karen. Sometimes there doesn't even need to be a hiccup. She just escalates out of nowhere, and it happens without fail. This had happened many times, but I will provide 2 brief examples. The first, she needed to return an item that was defective, so we went to the customer service desk. She didn't have a receipt, so the money would have come back on a storage gift card. No big deal for me, but for her, it may as well have been a scandalous assault on her rights as a consumer. She insisted in a rude and condescending tone of voice that she would not accept a store credit. It needed to be cash, plus $5 for the pain and suffering. Question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark. I stood there speechless as she screamed at the customer service manager, said she would call corporate and have them all fired, etc. Finally, she was asked to leave, and loss prevention came to escort us out. I had to physically pull her along to get her out before it became a police issue.
Yo.
Second example. We went out to eat at a restaurant. She likes her burger well done. There was a trace of pink in the middle. No biggie, just send it back, right? Not for her. She rebutted the waitress's offer to get her a new burger, said she was not going to wait, and wanted her whole meal comped. This led to the manager coming out, who offered to comp her half of the meal. She became incensed and started screaming again. When the manager refused to comp the whole meal, she flew from her seat, swept a stack of napkins off the table, and declared she was never eating at this establishment again. I followed her out, still hungry, in stunned silence. Oh. I became even more stunned when she angrily connived in the car to claim that she had found an insect in her food and doxed the manager on social media. I literally do not recognize this vile woman. In literally every other situation in life, even stressful ones, she's perfectly ordinary. But as soon as she expects a service and does not get absolute perfection, she acts as though she's been confronted with a cosmic injustice. I'm disgusted by the way she talks to service workers. She acts like they are worthless pieces of shit. We've talked about it, of course. I've noticed she immediately turns to me and begins trying to rationalize her escalations. That was ridiculous, right? How can a business owner treat their customers like that? Do you think I was too harsh? And I've always responded the same way. I would not have reacted like that because I didn't think it was a big deal. I've never gone farther than that because I had a bad feeling about the outcome if I did. I have so much anxiety about taking her out to eat, and I've avoided doing so specifically because of her outrageous behavior. COVID has been a lifesaver in this regard. That is the first time I've heard that one. But I can't keep dodging these situations and restricting my life because of my girlfriend's behavior. Frankly, this has even started to hurt our sex life. I'm not as attracted to her as I once was, specifically because I'm horrified and embarrassed by her public meltdowns. And I do not understand how one specific situation can be so triggering for an otherwise normal person. It seems like as soon as we walk into a store or restaurant, she's already decided that the staff is her enemy. Just today, she yelled at a poor call center worker because one of our packages was late. I am at a loss now how to approach this. Again, it's Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I feel like I would be talking about a whole different person if I had brought this up while she was in her normal state. But I know I have to address it, somehow. We've discussed getting engaged in the future, and this issue is affecting other areas of our relationship. How do I approach this?
Wow.
Wow. Bitch. I'm sorry, as a former service worker who's worked in like 10 different service settings, I've been in grocery stores, I've been in freaking cheapo restaurants, I've been a pizza delivery driver. I hate people like this. I'm sorry. You know what, Rafi? Why don't you start with this one?
I personally have a lot of experience with people like this. I won't name names. Definitely not Lily, don't worry. But there are people in my life who very much are like this. And I feel that anxiety of just like, I do not want to go into public with you. I do not know what you're gonna say to this person. Um, but like in terms of advice, you have to talk about this, but also I will you're not gonna win. Like this isn't a this is like people don't just like people who are like this will always be like this in my experience. And
And
maybe it is my limited worldview. But like if you have the ability to just like disassociate and treat another human as effectively nothing, or as your slave, like yeah, you're gonna be doing that for the rest of your life. That is something that at the age of 28 you should be far past.
yeah,
Um,
I was gonna say it's just like it's a matter of time before she starts treating him like this.
yeah, and like I understand once in a while, having a bad day and taking it out on someone. Like if that was
Can we give an example? I feel like we have a pretty good example of when it's appropriate.
yeah, so like if for example you worked at a place.
Wait, well, just don't talk about it in the third person. Like this was something that like we experienced together. Like this isn't like some fantasy scenario. Like this actually happened. One of my biggest rules, like obviously before we started dating, if I was on a date with a guy and he treated the waitress rudely, he treated any service person rudely, like immediate deal breaker, like immediate. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, would you like to tell the
So
sweet little story?
so the sweet little story is one night Lily and I decided to have a date night. And we ordered from one of the restaurants that she used to work at.
Also, for context, this was like an upscale pizza place. And I'm saying upscale pizza place because it's pretty expensive. Um, and they
Hmm.
pride themselves on being a fine dining establishment. It's also a brewery as well, so like it's pretty fancy. I worked there for 8 months as the girl that answered the phone, and like when you would come to pick up your food, I was the person. I also was front line of customer service, so anytime someone had a problem with their meal or was angry or pissed off for whatever reason, I was the person who had to deal with it. So I understand what it's like to be on the other end of an angry Karen. But yes, sorry, I just want to give a little context.
So the reason why that context is required is because we ordered a food, it got there, and as I'm eating the wings, I look down and I see that there are feathers on my wing, and and it's not the first time that had happened to me. I've eaten at places and like, oh, they left the feather on, like that's fine. But then we look at all of them and they're all covered in feathers. Like every wing has so many feathers. It was disgusting, and it really made me rethink eating meat.
But it was that bad. Rafi loves chicken. Like literally, I would like that's probably your favorite food. If not your favorite, like the one you eat most often.
It's
like you
98% of my diet.
That's a lot, saying a lot.
So now that we have the chicken wings, we're we're like, what do we do with this? Like, I can't eat any more chicken wings after seeing that literally every wing is like caked in feathers. Because they tried to hide it with like the red buffalo sauce.
Yeah, that was the other thing was they coated it and they hand coat their wings there. Like there's one chef, and also for context, the chef is the owner of the restaurant. I'm gonna call him Antonio. And this is Antonio is the owner of the restaurant, and Antonio is a short little freaking angry Italian man who threw plates at me.
Yeah.
He was just the worst. And to give you an idea of how awful this guy was, he couldn't get a chef to work for him for more than 2 months because he was such a little angry troll. So I knew he was the one that made the wings because he was the only person working in the kitchen that night. And he hand coated them and just tried covering the feathers by just thickly laying on the sauce over it to like mat them down. Okay, sorry, Rafi, continue. I'm getting worked up thinking about it.
And yeah, and so that energy visited us that night as well.
No, okay, hang on.
Right.
I'm gonna tell the story
because
I was on the phone.
You take over the
and I
story.
feel like this is really important because like there were specifics.
I'm not gonna lie. I was scared. But I understood.
Yeah. I call the restaurant and I'm like, all right, this is my mommy. I didn't Karen yet. I just said, I honestly just like wanted a refund. or like not even a refund, just like I remember when I'd work there and like someone would have a problem with the food, I would just like write their name down and their number and like, oh, next time you come in, like we'll give you whatever that thing was for free if you don't feel like driving back. Like fine, whatever. I think that's what's gonna happen. No. I get put on the phone with no. I get put on the phone with Antonio, my old boss, and in his angry troll voice, he snaps, well, how many wings is it? And I go, does it matter? He knows that there were at least 10 feathers in the wing, and for context, it was all of them. And he's like, well, how many wings was it? Was it just one? And I was like, does that matter? And he was like, how many wings was it? How many wings was it? So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna put the Zen and the meditation aside for a sec. I also was having a very rough term. I was taking an extra course. I was doing 2 internships and working at the time. So I'm like, this is my mommy to just let it all out. And I'll let Rafi take it.
Yeah, I feel like she just like.
I blacked out, honestly. So.
Yeah, no. It was. I feel like I witnessed Pusha T getting in the booth to write Story of Adidon because she just like read this man's whole life on top of just like yelling at him and that he was worthless and like she said a lot. Huh? Useless. I'm sorry. Useless. And that's a story for another time as well. If you want a story time with Lily and Rafi, that'll be on our second channel. No, I'm kidding. No, but the long and short of it is yes, this man got called useless and a lot of other mean things, and it was a cathartic moment for Lily in a hard time. And in this situation that we are currently assessing and trying to give advice to, this just seems like more of a trend rather than like a one-off thing where she was just having a cathartic release.
Exactly. And like this woman's just I think that's the important distinction is like that was a very specific situation and this woman just does it indiscriminately towards everyone.
Yeah, she wants all the smoke. And I don't think that is something that would change. But
what's our initial advice impression?
My initial advice impression is talk about it and explain that it is a deal breaker 150%. Cuz he's talking about it like it's affecting a lot of areas of their relationship and like realistically that's exactly what they need to do is what he needs to do because like this is a type of behavior that shows lack of care for another person and like it's fine and sometimes it can just be weird until it's about you and once that lack of care manifests towards you the situation becomes a lot different and like we're talking about early signs of a toxic relationship earlier like I might be just like reading too much into this. But based on the way that he's describing it, like this sounds like it should be a deal breaker. Especially if he's talking about getting engaged.
Yeah. And they've been together for 2 years, like and y'all haven't had a conversation about this yet? I'm just double checking that he hasn't told her that this makes him uncomfortable. Oh no, yeah, he says we talked he said we talked about it, of course. And she tries to rationalize it. I mean, but he isn't saying that he's not okay with the behavior. He's just saying he personally wouldn't have done that. Like, he's not telling her that he's not okay with this.
Especially on the level that he is expressing in this, like, 7-paragraph post. Like, if you're able to write that much about how much something bothers you and you're thinking about spending the rest of your life with this person, then you definitely need to be able to talk about it. And the fact that this is affecting you in a way that you felt necessary to go to the freaking internet for answers.
Yeah, and like to that point, imagine if you ever crossed her. Like, would she treat you like this? Like, what would she say to you? I don't know.
Facts.
Also, like, you're talking about getting engaged. You ever seen the show Bridezillas? Do you want that? Are you ready for that?
On top of that, the way that Karens are getting exposed nowadays, Do you
Oh, it's just a matter of you might get caught in the
That's what I'm
crossfires.
saying.
Man.
You might
like...
get clout for all the wrong reasons. It's not the best look, because it's just like, yo, we're literally in the middle of a pandemic. Like, have some general care for other people in your life, maybe.
Yeah, and I just feel like it's very telling that you've said that anything about the pandemic is relieving. And if, like, the pandemic is relieving you because you don't need to go in public with your girlfriend, like, bro, we're like balls deep in COVID right now. And this is, like, people always say the same things about COVID, like, oh, it's so weird. Like, I just want things to be normal. Like, I just want to return to normalcy. This is the first time I have heard someone say anything remotely positive about how the pandemic has impacted their life. I mean, obviously, like, spend more time with family, whatever, but, like, I love not having to go in public with my significant other again. Like,
who I'm thinking about spending the rest of my life with. Like,
that's a fact. Like, I'm sorry, bro.
I don't know if that's a dread that you want to persist in your life. And whether you realize that now, or in 5 years when you feel the exact same way, like, because I don't know, I really don't think that this is something someone changes. But should we jump into the comments, see what they have to say?
Yeah.
All right. So the last base slope says, if you want to know who someone is, watch how they treat those in service positions. Your girlfriend is great, friendly, funny, etc. to you because she considers you her equal. How does she treat other people? That is the core of who she is, and deep down, you already know that. It's why you haven't addressed it with her, because you know she will turn on you and you will be on the receiving end of her treatment. Ding, 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 ding.
Yes. Can we get some, like, Wheel of Fortune, like, winning music there?
Can we get the can I use the Family Feud winning
The
music?
Jeopardy. That, yeah.
Yeah, I might have to speed it up a little so we don't get copyright striked, but, like, hell yeah.
Just get it, like. I hope. Oh, that's probably.
Can I just use that? Can I just use that sound? Oh my gosh. But yeah, Steve Harvey says that is the number one answer. Cause no, I couldn't have said it better. If you want to know who someone is, watch how they treat those in service positions. That's an absolute fact. An absolute fact. Mimi098 says yes, he's walking on eggshells and doesn't even know it. I think he knows it. I will say that, but he's definitely walking on eggshells, and that fear of walking on eggshells. Um, some things you should walk on eggshells around, like some things it's just like, you know what, this is like, either this is just like a moment, this is just a little thing that's happened, but this is a pattern. Like, you have explained multiple times enough to give two examples that were insane to eh, again, if you're getting the cops called on you because you don't want a gift card, you want cash, um childish, um and and dangerous.
The next comment is from user Dr. Tufts Nuts MD. He says,
that's not that's
but he says, then OP better not screw up for any reason. Geez, you guys are acting like minor mistakes aren't a reason to aggressively abuse people. What next? She shouldn't slowly poison him so she gets attention from having sick boyfriend? I mean, you guys just don't understand true love, I guess.
Facts. U/SnooMuffin6118 says, I've never gone farther than that because I have a bad feeling about the outcome if I did. Don't date someone you're afraid of. It's really that simple. She's not great and friendly. She's a person. And you know how I know? Because great, friendly people don't act this way ever. So you're dating an asshole. And you're just lucky that so far only service workers have set her off, not you. But, it could be you, which is why you're afraid to confront her about it. So, like I say, don't date someone you're afraid of. Oh, and he gives three options. Snoo Muffin, stop doing our job for us. So the three options are confront her and hopefully resolve it, confront her and get dumped slash back down and cower, or don't ever mention it and hope she never turns on you and hate public interactions with her forever. So it's up to you. Yeah, that's another top answer. Um, that's another top answer. Steve Harvey is proud of Reddit today. Um,
Yeah, I think this is a good one. From user Goddamn Slut Muffin. Um, she's coming from a place of personal experience with this. She says, I had a best friend that was like this. I considered her a sister. She was going to be the maid of honor at my wedding and godmother of my future kids. I became roommates with her, and her whole personality took a 180. I saw this ugly, toxic, angry, and abusive side I had never imagined she had been hiding. She treated anyone in customer service role like absolute trash and leagues below her, which weirdly enough didn't start around me until we became roommates. I know that feeling all too well, not wanting to get really honest with her about her behavior because you're afraid of the outcome. One day I did go that far and gave her a dose of brutal honesty, which she got so incredibly verbally and physically abusive with me. She damaged the apartment during that fit and we lost our security deposit. She blamed me for that, LMAO. On some real shit, OP, run. Run, 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 run. She'll talk shit on social media and possibly stalk you, but do not let it stop you. It's just her trying to scare you into coming back.
Damn.
Abusive manipulation 101. Run with the wind, dude.
Damn. Goddamn Slut Muffin, you did it again.
Mm-hmm.
The comments are doing our job for us at this point.
Yeah.
They said it. We said it. So the official advice, I think we could lean towards just saying run for the hills, my guy.
Yeah.
Try and talk it out.
It's gonna
Try
be,
if you really love this person.
I don't know though. I don't
You don't
think
know?
if she's done this multiple times, I think it's too late, and 2 years is a long time, but sounds like you tried talking to her before. I would just say run for the hills. You seem like a really genuine, kind person. Find a girl that also treats server workers with kindness.
Yeah, but I don't know. If you really love this person, and you express, because to me it kind of sounds like he was dancing, beating around the bush, as they say. And if that is the case, be entirely honest with this person. And if you're like, I honestly have been scared to have this conversation with you because I'm scared and I hate the way that you interact with service workers sometimes. It genuinely upsets me and it even turns me off. I hate it in the truest sense of that word. And it really is a deal breaker. If you don't try and change your ways, but you never should try and change a person. That person should want to change. So uh, yeah, no, I think I'm leaning with Lily on this, honestly. Run for the hills. Run for the hills. I think that might be the official advice.
Yeah. Run, 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 run.
Cast it into the fire!
If she does stalk you, burn some of
Yeah, it's cathartic. Or you could give them scabies. Yeah.
curse them with scabies. Yeah, that was my advice last time.
I don't know if she deserves scabies. If you really love this person, it'll probably be a hard breakup, and you'll need people around you. And as with all breakups, but don't don't stay together because you think you should get married. You should stay together because you love that person and you want to get married and you love the way that that person treats other people, because that seems to be an important thing to you, seeing as you post it online. and wrote 6 paragraphs about it. But yeah. So, for the official, so I could put in the little sound that I don't know if anybody really notices, but the sound of our first high five. The official advice, do you want to state it?
Yeah, so the official advice is run for the hills.
Yeah. Then quickly clap. Yeah.
Now,
Run, Forrest, run! Run, Forrest!
Yeah, we can add that.
oh yeah.
Yeah. So, is that episode 3 in the books?
I think that's
In the
episode
books?
3. In the book.
Inside of the pages?
Well, thank you all for tuning into Lurkers.
Yes.
Subscribe to our channel. Or subscribe.
Thank you for tuning into Lurkers.
The number one
And only.
r/relationship advice podcast. Lurkers podcast. Let us know what you thought. Suggest things for next time. Submit anonymously in our DMs or through the anonymous link in our bio.
Yeah. So, signing off. I'm Rafi. And oh yeah. You like
Have a
it,
great
Larry's.
week.
Alright.
See you next
We
Sunday.
messed it up. We botched it once again. 3. Have a great week, you lurking Larrys.
See you next Sunday.
Thank you for tuning into Lurkers.
The number one
And only.
r/relationship advice podcast.